Imagine this scenario. It is Saturday morning. You have a to-do list that has been growing for weeks. It's sitting there on the counter, staring at you. You have emails to answer, laundry that is piling up on that chair, and a project you promised yourself you would start. You know exactly what you need to do. Logic tells you that if you just start now, you could be done in 2 hours and enjoy the rest of your weekend guilt-free. You want to do it. You are desperate to be the version of yourself that is productive and clean and organized. But instead of moving, you are lying on your bed or melting into the corner of your sofa, staring at a screen. You are scrolling through videos you don't even like. You are refreshing a feed that hasn't changed. To an outside observer, you look relaxed. You look like someone who is simply enjoying a lazy day off. But inside your head, it is a war zone. You are screaming at yourself. Get up! Just stand up! Why are you like this? Why are you so lazy? Just put the phone down. But your body refuses to listen. It feels heavy, almost like your limbs are made of lead or concrete. There is a physical resistance, a magnetic force pinning you to the mattress. The more time passes, the louder the internal screaming becomes, and the more paralyzed you feel. The sun goes down. The day is wasted, and you go to sleep hating yourself, promising that tomorrow will be different. But tomorrow comes and the heaviness is still there. If this sounds like your life, I need you to listen to me very closely. You have likely spent years, maybe decades, labeling yourself as lazy, undisciplined, or procrastinating. You have shamed yourself for not having enough willpower. But I am here to tell you that the diagnosis you have given yourself is fundamentally wrong. What you are experiencing is not a character flaw. It is not a lack of motivation. You are experiencing a very specific biological survival state known as functional freeze. And the reason you cannot scream or force your way out of it is that your body thinks it is saving your life. To understand why you are stuck, we have to stop looking at your mindset and start looking at your nervous system. Specifically, we need to look at something called polyvagal theory. Most of us are taught a very simple binary. We are either calm or we are stressed. We know about the fight or flight response, that adrenaline rush you get when a car swerves into your lane. That is your sympathetic nervous system reacting to danger. It mobilizes you. It makes you run. But what happens when the threat isn't a tiger or a car, but something chronic? What happens when the threat is life itself? Overwhelming expectations, financial pressure, unresolved trauma, or a fear of failure that feels so big it could crush you? When your brain perceives a threat that is too massive to fight and too omnipresent to run from, it engages a secret third option. It activates the dorsal vagal complex. This is the oldest, most primitive part of your vagus nerve. Think of a lizard playing dead when a hawk flies over, or a mouse going limp in the jaws of a cat. This is the freeze response. Your brain pulls the emergency brake. It shuts down your motivation, numbs your emotions, lowers your heart rate, and makes your body feel heavy. It puts you into a state of metabolic hibernation to conserve energy and make you invisible to the threat. Here is the profound aha moment. You are not scrolling on your phone because you are having fun. Laziness feels good. Laziness is restorative. Laziness is lying on a beach with a cold drink, feeling light and happy. What you are doing is torture. You are highly stressed, hyper-aware of everything you are neglecting, but physically locked in place. In psychology, we call this a state of high arousal, low mobility. It is like sitting in a car and stomping on the gas pedal and the brake pedal at the exact same time. The engine is roaring, the wheels are smoking, the car is vibrating with tension, but you aren't going anywhere. You are burning out while sitting still. But why does your brain think a pile of laundry or an email is a threat, worthy of shutting down your entire system? This often traces back to how you learned to handle stress as a child or young adult. If you grew up in an environment where mistakes were punished, or where you had to be perfect to be loved, your brain learned that doing is dangerous. If you try, you might fail. If you fail, You might be rejected. So, the safest option is to not try at all. This is why functional freeze is so common among high achievers, perfectionists, and gifted kids. You care so much about doing a good job that the sheer weight of the expectation triggers the freeze. You aren't freezing because you don't care. You are freezing because you care too much. This state is also reinforced by what neuroscientists call the dopamine trap. When you are in a freeze state, you feel awful. You feel numb, anxious, and disconnected. Your brain, desperate for a tiny hit of relief, reaches for the easiest source of dopamine available. Usually, that is your phone, junk food, or video games. This isn't about addiction in the traditional sense. It is self-medication. You are trying to use the screen to numb the screaming in your head. But the relief is temporary, and the guilt that follows only adds more stress to the pile, which deepens the freeze. It is a vicious cycle. The more you freeze, the more threats pile up, more overdue tasks, which makes the freeze stronger. There is another layer to this called task paralysis, often linked to ADHD or executive dysfunction, but present in almost everyone with high stress. Your brain stops seeing clean the kitchen as one task. It sees it as 50 tasks. Stand up, walk to sink, find sponge, put soap on sponge, pick up fork, scrub fork, rinse fork. It becomes a mountain of micro decisions. When your battery is already drained from the dorsal vagal shutdown, that mountain looks impossible to climb. So, you don't even take the first step. You retreat to the safety of the bedrot, where the world can't touch you. So, how do we thaw out? How do we break a biological mechanism that has been keeping us safe for years? The biggest mistake people make is trying to bully themselves into action. You scream at yourself, "You are pathetic. Just get up." But think about it. If your body is frozen because it feels threatened, will screaming at it make it feel safer? No, it adds more threat. It makes the ice thicker. You cannot shame yourself out of a survival response. You have to safety signal your way out. Since freeze is a physical state, the solution must be physical, not mental. You cannot think your way out of a freeze. You have to move your way out. But you have to start small, ridiculously, insultingly small. The first actionable tool is somatic bridging. When you are stuck on the couch, do not try to get up. Do not try to clean the house. That is too big. Just try to wiggle your big toe. That's it. Just the toe. Then, rotate your ankle. Then, open and close your hands. These tiny low-stakes movements send a signal up your spinal cord to your brainstem that says, "Look, I am moving. I am in control. I am safe." It slowly disengages the emergency brake without triggering the alarm. Another powerful technique is the physiological sigh. This is a breathing pattern that directly hacks the nervous system. You take 2 short inhales through the nose, one to fill the lungs, and a tiny one on top to pop the air sacs, and then a long, slow exhale through the mouth. Doing this just 3 times can mechanically switch off the panic freeze switch and bring you back online. It tells your body, if we have time to breathe like this, the tiger must be gone. You can also use the 2-minute rule combined with junkyard logic. Tell yourself, I don't have to do a good job. I'm allowed to do a garbage job for exactly 2 minutes. Often, the freeze comes from the pressure of quality. By giving yourself permission to do it poorly, to just throw the clothes in the basket without folding them, or to write a terrible email draft, you lower the stakes. You turn the threat back into a simple task, and usually, once you start, the friction disappears, and you find you can keep going. But perhaps the most important step is radical compassion. You need to reframe your lazy days not as failures, but as unauthorized recovery time. Your body took that time because it needed it. It took it by force because you wouldn't give it voluntarily. If you start scheduling actual guilt-free rest, time where you are allowed to do nothing without the phone, just looking at the ceiling or walking in nature. Your body won't need to hijack your Saturday to force you into a coma. I want you to be kinder to the person in the mirror today. This paralysis is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you have been carrying too much for too long without putting it down. Your body is trying to protect you. It loves you. It's just a little misguided in how it's doing it. So, here is your challenge. Stop screaming at yourself for being cold. Start gently warming up the room. Wiggle a toe. Take a deep breath. Wash one single spoon. Remind your body that you are safe and that you are capable. I'm curious, and I want to hear from you. What is the one big thing you have been putting off for weeks because of this freeze? Write it in the comments below. Sometimes just writing it down breaks the spell and makes it look smaller. And if you are wondering why you tend to feel this exhaustion specifically around certain people, friends or family members who seem to suck the life out of you, you might be dealing with energy vampires. That is a whole different kind of freeze, and we explore the psychology of it in this next video. Click here to watch, and I'll see you there.